Good morning, friends. Today I am coming up with another topic which is related to manufacturing and which is specially meant for subcontracting. In subcontracting, we have different ways to allocate our sub process, semi finished good or finished goods to third party service provider to process a manufacturing layer and send us back the semi finished or finished goods. So everything works and starting with bill of material. How you set up your bill of material. So here I have defined my bill of material for desktop computers where I have defined two components. One is CPU box, another one is monitor. And desktop computer will be manufactured in my premises. Now going to second BOM, that is CPU box, which is meant for subcontracting, which is built by CPU vendor, and cabinet and processor are two components which is required to build CPU box. Now I am going into product master where CPU box has been considered as buy and replenish on order only. Like as and when I require to build my desktop computers, I will order this CPU box to my vendor, CPU vendor. And these are my component cabinet where I am defining currently one simple route resupply subcontractor on orders. Okay, where I have to maintain my stock always to resupply. And second is processor, right, where I am defining my route resupply subcontractor on order. Okay, so this is how it will work. And then as soon as I trigger my manufacturing order for desktop computers, I confirm it, it will trigger two purchase orders automatically. One purchase order to computer vendor to send me the monitor. Monitor is another product which I have defined as make to order, buy and replenish on order only. So that's why one order goes to this monitor vendor. So here I am going into computer vendor and confirming my order and receiving my product. Very simple. And now I am going into CPU vendor where I am expecting CPU box to purchase. As soon as I confirm the order, it will generate two modes. One is resupply, another one is receive. Resupply is meant to supply cabinet and processor raw material so that CPU vendor will manufacture this CPU box for us. Okay, and then it is reserved because it is available in stock. So I set quantities and I deliver those items to my vendor. And then in return, he will send me CPU box. So CPU vendor will send me a finished goods CPU box. And during that, I will record my component to consume. So I will say one unit I'm expecting. So it will say one cabinet, one processor has been consumed over here, record production, and I validate it. And now I can see both items are available, CPU box and monitor, in my main manufacturing order to build desktop computers. And I simply say mark is done, and that's it. Okay, now coming to this is the first way. Second way is when I'm changing my route into component. So in component, let's say I want to make sure like I buy as and when needed. So cabinet I am going to buy as and when needed and resupply to subcontractor. And so the processor I'm going to buy and do this. Okay, so this is the second way when I am now triggering my manufacturing orders for desktop computers. it will again trigger two purchase order. One is to computer vendor to buy the monitor. So I confirm the order. I receive my monitor from a vendor. And then to CPU vendor, as soon as I confirm, it will again generate resupply and receipt. So in resupply, it is not reserving product, okay, because it is meant to connect with another PO. So because I set my process as and when I needed, I will buy. So it will generate a PO to my computer vendor to supply me cabinet and processor. So I say confirm order and receive my product from this vendor. Okay. And then when I go here in my connected PO and go to resupply, now it is reserving item because now I got that item from a vendor which I have purchased. And then I validate it, and in CPU vendor I will go record my component and validate. So he has sent me the finished goods to me, and then in my ammo now all the items are available, and I say mark as done. Okay, now going into third way to manage the same thing for resupply, and here I am going to say dropship subcontractor on orders. Okay, this is another thing I am going to do for cabinet and processor. Okay, and now I am triggering my manufacturing order. So it is again generating two PO. One is to computer vendor to buy a monitor item. I simply receive the product, set quantities, validate it. And then to another PO to CPU vendor, I confirm the order. It will generate only a receipt. Okay. And then when I go to my normal purchase order, it is generating component vendor. And here it is marked dropship to CPU vendor directly. It is not coming to my warehouse. So I just confirm the order, and in the dropship I will say set quantities, and it is directly going to my vendor. Okay, it is not coming to me. So it is done. I'm going back to my another PO where in receipt I will simply record the components because it is submitted via directly dropship item, and then I'm validating my receipt of finished goods of CPU box. And then I am coming back to my ammo where both the raw materials are available, and I'm getting it done. So now mark is done and the ammo is done. Finished. So here we have seen three different ways to subcontract based on our route. One is only resupply subcontractor order where you have to maintain your raw material availability at your warehouse. Second one is buy and replenishment on order. So when you need this raw material to resupply to subcontractor, it will create a purchase order and then you buy that, take it to your warehouse and resupply. And third one is dropship subcontracting directly with buy and replenish. So it will trigger a PO, and in a dropship address it will mark your subcontractor vendor's address and it will directly supply, and I'm buying that item. Hope this will help to clear many aspects of subcontracting over here. Thank you very much.